welcome to our Cabinet member on the 10th Cabinet meeting, on the 10th of January 2025. Agenda item 1 this morning is the appointment of chairperson. I am Councillor Steve Hunt, leader of Neath Talbot Council, and I will be chairing today's meeting of Cabinet. Agenda item 2 is Chair's announcements. So can I just welcome members of the public or press that may be here for this meeting. Please ensure that your microphones are switched off. You are here to observe the meeting only. Members and officers, please ensure that your phones are switched to silent for the duration of the meeting and that your microphones are switched to mute unless you are speaking. In addition, when asked to raise your hand, if members who are virtually attending this meeting could raise their electronic hands, and for members physically present, just raise your hands. Officers, please ensure to verbally add any additional comments from scrutiny committees if this is not already included within the reports. And I wish to remind members signing in remotely of their legal obligations to have their mic cameras switched on during the meeting, please, in order to be seen and heard while participating in council business. I cannot emphasise enough how important this is. Thank you. So if I move on to agenda item 3, declarations of interest. Can I just ask members, are there any declarations of interest they'd like to declare, please?
I see none, Chair.
Sorry?
I see none.
No, there are none. So agenda item 4 is the Forward Work Programme 24-25. And the Forward Work Programme is on pages 3 to 10 and is here for noting. And move on to agenda item 5, which is public question time. I have received no notifications from the public to speak at today's meeting. So I'll move on now to agenda item 6, which is the draft budget for consultation 2025-2026. The report is on pages 11 to 49. And is here for a decision. Can I just ask Hugh Jones now if he has anything further to add to this agenda item, please?
Thank you, Leader. Good morning, Borough. So Cabinet members will be familiar with the contents of this report, but just for the benefit of any press or public watching, I will just draw out just a couple of the salient points, Leader, if I may. So first of all, these are a draft set of proposals. They don't seek any final decisions from the executive. They are for consultation with the public. If you look at the reports pack on pages 11, 12, there's just a little bit of context around how this draft budget has been put together, along with some background. On page 13, I've highlighted the current council budget for members' information, so you can see there that the vast majority of the council's expenditure in terms of schools and social services amounting to 58% of the total that the council spends in the current year. In terms of the provisional local government settlement, on an all-Wales basis, it was 4.3%. Our share of that was 4.4%, which is 10th in Wales, which is better than it has been for the last couple of years. However, as I note on page 14, the WLGA have estimated that there's a £560 million funding gap for local government next year and have allocated £253 million. So the Welsh Government have given us less than half of what's required. If we look at the table on page 14, the budget summary, so just take members through the figures there. So the current year's budget of £376 million is the starting point. I've pulled together the information then from the appendices, so £4.9 million of the specific grants transferred in the settlement allocated to services, pay and inflationary increases of £23 million, and service pressures of just under £15 million, giving us a cost increase of £43.009 million for next year. Included within the inflation figure are the increases in costs resulting from the national insurance threshold changes announced by the Chancellor. And as you can see from the minus 5855 figure there, we expect that to be fully funded from the government by specific grants. So there's a little risk around that because there's a bit of uncertainty at the moment. But in terms of these draft proposals, that's what we're proposing. If I move on to page 15, Leader, you'll see there that after all of that, in terms of taking into account the Welsh Government funding, we end up with a budget gap for next year of £15 million. We've identified savings proposals of £8.6 million, which are documented in Appendix 4, and will be subject to scrutiny next week in the 4 scrutiny committees. So that leaves us with a residual budget gap of £6.398 million, which is needed to be funded at the moment through council tax. So as a council tax increase percentage, that amounts to 7%. So that's a summary, Leader, of the proposals. The recommendation is on page 18 of the pack, which is to commence consultation with the public on a 7% council tax increase. So that's all I wanted to say, Leader. So thank you. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch, Hugh. Can I ask members, are there any questions, observations or comments to Hugh at this point, please? I know we've done a seminar, we've gone through it in Cabinet, so there's a lot of information there. I would just give one point again, and I know we always do this, but I would... Councillor Swelling first,
Yeah.
then. Sorry, I didn't see you in the corner there.
No, that's right.
Thank you.
I'm in the naughty corner, I think, here. But yes, sorry, Leader. I know that you'll want to sort of summarise the situation during the course of the meeting. But I just like at the outset here to thank Hugh and his team, and all of the proper directors and all of their teams, and that includes all levels of the workforce, because there's been a huge amount of engagement, not just in recent weeks, but over the whole of the last year to prepare the budget, and a tremendous amount goes on behind the scenes. And I think I'd like to emphasise the importance of our early engagement, and as Cabinet members, we've held public consultation meetings to hear what is important to our residents in the budget and encourage all stakeholders to respond. And the Leader and myself also met with the Members of Parliament and Senedd members representing our area to emphasise the critical situation which was facing all councils across Wales. And of course our partners in the trade unions have also been emphasising the need for fair funding for local government services. So I think we're pleased that to the extent that the settlement has improved compared with the earlier indications, but I think that we have to keep coming back to the point that Hugh made, that the WLGA has estimated that local government has a funding gap of 560 million, whereas the current increase of 4.3% represents only 253 million. So that, as our Director of Finance says, that is less than half the amount that's required across all Wales. So I think there is still the task ahead of us to ensure that this budget improves as much as possible, that we continue our work of lobbying, and that we ask all our residents and all our partners to join us in that, so that the final settlement hopefully will be further improved. But I think as it stands, this is a budget which protects jobs and services, and sets a balanced level of council tax. But we will be listening very carefully over the next month or so to the responses that come during the consultation period. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. I'm sure we all agree with those comments. Stole my thunder a little bit there, but that's fine. So I won't go over what Alan said. I certainly concur with the comments he has made. I mean, there's exceptional work from our heads of services and all our staff when they were given the task of the further 5% reductions. They came back and they delivered on that. So they should be commended for the work to get us to a balanced budget state. So certainly all the points Alan's raised are valid. The point I was going to finish on is that how important it is for the consultation now from today is engaged with by our communities right across Neath Talbot. We're already seeing some comments that are since the announcement was made, but today is when we deliver going out to the consultation. So I would encourage all those members and the communities to please engage, ask the questions they need to ask, and feed into the process. So when we set in the budget, we'll have the information we need to deliver what is needed for Neath Talbot County Borough Council. So thank you for that. Any further questions from members? I don't see any. Okay, this item is proposed for immediate implementation and will not be subject to the call-in process. So can I ask Phil Rogers, who is the relevant scrutiny chair, if he will support this decision this morning, please? Phil?
Yes, thank you, Leader. I think we need to get on with this as a matter of urgency, and I'm happy to support the recommendation for immediate implementation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil. I now refer members to the recommendation on page 18 of your agenda pack. I'm happy to propose this agenda item. Can I have a seconder, please?
Paul Chielo, happy to second.
Thank you, Alan. Can I ask, are there any abstentions from members? I don't see any. Members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume that you're in favour of the recommendations.
I see no indication to the contrary, Chair, and confirm that the recommendation has been approved.
Thank you very much, Nadine. This was the only agenda item this morning, so that now concludes our business. Can I thank you all for your attendance and enjoy the rest of your day. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Thank you all.